Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, that maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers about anything that I bring up during this watch list. On May 2nd on the CW, we had the season 6 premiere of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Very excited about this. Obviously picking up with season 5's finale. Spoilers, we had Sarah being abducted by aliens, which at the time it didn't correlate in my head that was Sarah being abducted by aliens. It should have, but it didn't click in my head. I mean, to be fair, it's not like this is the first time aliens have popped up in this universe, because the fact of the matter is there's a whole crossover dedicated to Heroes versus Aliens, but then there's also the fact is there's Supergirl, which was mainly the, alien show, but now it's like, well, everything's on the, well, mostly everything with the exception of like Stargirl, it's on the same Earth right now, so it makes sense. But I'm very excited to see what shenanigans the Legends get into, that aliens being like the main threat, because like there's aliens around scattered throughout time they have to deal with, so and just how they're going to handle this in their very Legends type of way. There are 2 trailers out. There's one that came out like 2 weeks ago, a shorter one that I watched, but there is an extended trailer that's like 2 minutes and something that I watched that came out yesterday at the time you're recording this. I'll include a link to both of them, but I only watched the shorter one because I want to know as little as possible going into this season, so, but like I said, I will include both if you want to check out the extended one as well, but I'm super pumped to see what goes down this season. On May 7th on Netflix, we have a new series called Jupiter's Legacy. Essentially, it is a group of friends or archaeologists or something like that discover this island, and they gain powers and become superheroes, and it basically, the story seems to be like focusing on them in their older ages as they're kind of like passing the mantle to the next generation of superheroes, of kind of like, yeah, you were superheroes for so long and kind of heralded in that way, but I think it's kind of like, at least based on the trailer, it makes it seem like it's kind of a thing of, well, when you've kind of dedicated your entire life to that, and that's kind of what your identity is, like how that can kind of slip away from you a little bit, and then, once again, like this, the generation of kids being like, oh, like, growing up with parents who had superpowers and what that kind of means for them as they kind of find their way in the world and, continue their parents' legacy to a certain extent. So it seems like an interesting series. It feels kind of like probably more on the positive end compared to something like The Boys, which can be like very like anti-superhero. This seems very pro-superhero in certain regards, just based on what I saw from the trailer. I've never read the comic that this is originally based on, but regardless, it seemed really interesting, so I'm really interested to check it out. On May 21st on Hulu, we have the new series Marvel's M.O.D.O.K. Basically, it's so interesting because obviously it's a series focusing on the villain M.O.D.O.K. and just kind of his everyday life. It's like he's raising kids, doing the super villain thing while raising kids, also getting a divorce from his wife. It's just a crazy, weird comedy show. It's so interesting, like, if I didn't know this was like a proper like Marvel show, it would seem like this was like a Robot Chicken parody, because it looks like how a Robot Chicken parody would handle this. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, it seems like a really like just fun, like crazy shenanigan filled show set in the Marvel universe following this particular villain. Some interactions with heroes like we know of, like the only one I really saw that I was aware of was obviously Iron Man, but it just seemed interesting and fun, and so I'm excited to check it out. Also on May 21st on Netflix, we have the second and final season of The Neighbor, or its Spanish title is El Vecino. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I do apologize. It's a show about a dude who's, basically comes across like something that gives him superhero powers, and it's shenanigans ensued of like, I'm using the word shenanigans a lot today, I do apologize, but basically him being a superhero and trying to keep his secret identity while trying to fight evil. I remember watching the trailer for this when it originally came out, but I've still not seen season 1. I just rewatched the season 1 trailer because at the time you were recording this, I didn't find a season 2 trailer, but there might be one like soon to follow. It was always an interesting show. I just never got around to it, but with it being the second and final season coming up, I figured, well, this is kind of a perfect time to kind of jump into it. But it just seems like a guy stumbling as he's trying to do the superhero thing and trying to fight evil and do good. And so like a lot of stuff, I haven't read the original comic book that this is based on, but it seems really interesting. Like I said, now's the perfect time to jump into it with, like, the second season like right around the corner. So really interested to check out season 1 and then jump right into the second and final season. On May 27th on Netflix, we have a new series called Eden. Essentially, it's a world where most of humanity has been wiped out, almost all of humanity, and basically these robots robots are kind of the only beings I think left around, and these robots end up finding this little girl Sarah and end up raising her. But this is a world where humans are seen by robots as evil. So based on I've seen the date announcement trailer and the teaser trailer for this, that it seemed like the main antagonist kind of wants to kill her because it's she's a human and humans are evil. But it seems like she's trying to get to somewhere called Eden 3. I think that's the place she's at, or at the very least the place she's going to, where it's there's someone that needs help and she's going to be the person to help them. It just from what we've seen of it, it seems really interesting. It's an interesting premise of these robots raising this human, and even her trying to find her place in the world, being the only human she knows, considering everyone else around her is a robot. This world is filled mainly with robots, so even wishing she was a robot, why wasn't I born a robot? Why was I born a human? So it seemed like an interesting series. Like I said, at the time we recorded, it's only the date announcement and the teaser trailer out. I don't believe there's a full trailer out, but it seemed interesting, so I'm interested to check it out. And finally, on May 28th on Netflix, we have Lucifer Season 5B, Season 5 Part 2, whatever you want to refer to it as, the second half of Season 5 of Lucifer, which I'm really excited about. At the time of me recording this, there is no teaser or even trailer out. We probably won't get a trailer for another week or two. This will be up long before then, most likely. You never know. It's going to be a couple days before this go up, so it could still end up changing in that time frame. But yeah, I know very little going into the second half of the season. I only know where we left off with the first half of Season 5. Big reveal. Obviously, I don't want to get into spoilers, so I won't talk about it. But what that development means with everything, especially where we left off with. Since we're talking about Season 5 in general, and maybe you already know without having seen all of it, maybe, but we dealt with Michael, and that situation isn't resolved, but this other character popping up, what that might mean in the grand scheme of things, where Lucifer and Chloe stand at the end of it all. The only thing I'm aware of going into the second half of this season is that there is a musical episode, because they talked about it at DC Fandom, so that's something I'm really excited to go for, just from to see, just because a little clip they ended up showing at DC Fandom was pretty dope. So I'm really excited about that, but in general, I'm just excited to see where the rest of the season is going to take us with these. I'm assuming, yeah, 8 other episodes, because the entire season's supposed to be 16 episodes, I believe. So I'm really excited to see the second half of the season what the second half of the season has in store for us. And that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that maybe you're interested in, and you think that me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.